Ever wondered how accurate our historical timeline really is? It's a question that keeps historians, archaeologists, and yes, even conspiracy theorists up at night. We've always been taught to trust the chronology of events, accepting the years and dates given to us as unshakable facts. But what if we told you that everything you thought you knew about time could be wrong? Welcome to the world of the phantom time hypothesis. A theory that doesn't just question the timeline, it downright challenges it. It suggests that our historical timeline could be off by a whopping 3 centuries. Imagine 300 years of history fabricated, filled in with fictional events and fake relics. This is not your average conspiracy theory. It's a theory that forces us to question the very fabric of our understanding of history. It dares to suggest that powerful figures like Holy Roman Emperor Otto III and Pope Sylvester II had the means and the motive to rewrite history to suit their narrative. So are you ready to dive into the phantom time hypothesis? The phantom time hypothesis, a theory that originates from the mind of a German historian, Heribert Illig. Let's take a journey back to the 1990s, the era of grunge, the dawn of the internet, and a time when Heribert Illig, a man with a profound interest in history, was about to make a bold claim that would send ripples through the world of chronology. Illig, already known for his work in revised chronology, was about to propose a theory that would challenge the very fabric of our historical timeline. The phantom time hypothesis, as it came to be known, was born out of Illig's observation of a peculiar anomaly in our historical record. He noticed a distinct lack of archaeological evidence and historical documentation from the period we call the early Middle Ages, specifically between the years 614 and 911 AD. This period, often referred to as the Dark Ages, was suddenly under Illig's intense scrutiny. But how did he explain this gap? Illig proposed that this was not a mere coincidence or a result of poor record-keeping. Instead, he suggested that this period of phantom time was intentionally fabricated. Illig theorized that the Holy Roman Emperor, Otto III, conspired with Pope Sylvester II to manipulate the calendar, creating an additional 297 years that never really existed. Why would they do this, you might ask? Well, Illig believed that Otto III wanted to reign during the significant year of 1000 AD. And so, in collaboration with the Pope, they forged historical documents and tweaked the calendar to suit their grand plan. The audacity of such a claim is staggering, but Illig was not deterred. He was determined to prove that nearly 3 centuries of our history were nothing more than a grand illusion. And so, the phantom time hypothesis was born. Now, who are the believers of this theory, and what evidence do they have to support it? The phantom time hypothesis has been championed by a few brave souls who dared to question the status quo. The most notable among them is Heribert Illig, a German historian who first proposed the theory in the late 20th century. Illig, along with other proponents, presents a compelling argument based on a myriad of evidence. One of the most persuasive pieces of evidence is the noticeable dearth of historical records and cultural artifacts from the period between 500 and 1000 CE, known as the Dark Ages. This glaring absence of tangible history has left many wondering if there's more to the story than meets the eye. The proponents of the phantom time hypothesis also point to the church's notorious reputation for forgery during this era. An example often cited is the Donation of Constantine, a document allegedly forged by the church to legitimize its power. If the church could create such a significant forgery, the theory's supporters argue, what's stopping them from fabricating an entire era? Finally, the theory's backers bring up the controversy surrounding the Julian and Gregorian calendars. The switch from the Julian to the Gregorian calendar in 1582 by Pope Gregory XIII resulted in a loss of 10 days. This discrepancy, they argue, could be evidence of a much larger manipulation of time and history. But it's not just the tangible evidence that the proponents rely on. They also point to the means, motive, and opportunity that Holy Roman Emperor Otto III and Pope Sylvester II had to rewrite history. After all, what better way to celebrate the end of the first millennium than to make it arrive nearly 300 years ahead of schedule? The evidence is certainly compelling, but what does it all mean? Let's unpack the phantom time hypothesis and see what it's really about. This theory is a historical conspiracy suggesting that the Holy Roman Emperor Otto III, together with Pope Sylvester II, fabricated almost 300 years of history. That's right, they allegedly manipulated the Western calendar to celebrate the end of the first millennium nearly 300 years early. But why would they do such a thing? Well, the phantom time hypothesis suggests that it was to place themselves at the significant mark of the year 1000, a symbol of divine perfection and completion. They supposedly filled this phantom time with fictional events and figures. Now, what does this imply for our understanding of history? The period between 500 and 1000 CE is often referred to as the Dark Ages, a time of supposed cultural stagnation and limited historical documentation. If the phantom time hypothesis holds true, it would mean that this period in history was significantly shorter than we believe, or perhaps didn't exist at all. This theory also raises questions about the credibility of historical documents. During this time, the church was known for producing forgeries, including the donation of Constantine. This document, which was later proven to be a forgery, granted vast territories and spiritual authority to the Pope. If the church could forge such a significant document, could they have forged 300 years of history? The phantom time hypothesis also points out the controversy surrounding the transition from the Julian to the Gregorian calendar. This change, made to correct a discrepancy in the Julian calendar, resulted in the loss of several days. Could there have been more to this adjustment than meets the eye? So could we have been living in a phantom time all this while? The phantom time hypothesis certainly makes us question our understanding of time and history.